Here's Johnny.
Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. It's Lane here with ngshackle. Today we're going over the viewer's choice video, which if you're not familiar with, is when you, the viewer, make recommendations on which cryptocurrencies I should cover. I then take the most popular recommendations, then you, the viewers, vote to see which ones will be in the next video. In this week's video, XCN and SHX Stronghold were voted the highest videos. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into the video. Use the coupon code 1776 for the entire month of July to get 25% off your first month of my Master Tier memberships on Patreon. I'll see you there. First off, taking a look at XCN, which actually received the most votes and was the most popular during this round of viewer's choice. This cryptocurrency has a very interesting way of trading. It really likes to trade in these wedges that go to extreme highs, then consolidate for long periods of time, essentially erasing the move entirely, retesting the breakout points before seeing another breakout. So what we seem to get in this particular cryptocurrency is we get these flag patterns breaking out, flagging, breaking out, flagging, breaking out, flagging, long period of consolidation, little breakout, flagging, breaking out. We're currently seeing XCN trading just outside of this flag pattern that it has been trading in for quite some time. Since it formed this last flag here until its breakout, it had traded within this area for 91 days. Price is currently trading below the equilibrium zone and recently just breaking out of this flag area, coming up right to my weak doji waterfall on the daily chart. Just in case you're not aware, weak dojis are areas that can act as price targets or price reversals and are a part of my grafting trading strategy that I will likely be releasing in the next few months and have been working on for quite some time. Now you'll notice right here on the charts, if you take a look between this point here, we are starting to form a strong bearish divergence between the stochastic and the price action. This will be interesting to watch to see how it develops. I've been watching quite a few of these on a lot of different cryptocurrencies lately, and they have not actually been working out to a very high percentage, especially when they have longer spreads like this. The ones that have been working out more successful have been the shorter spreads, so something that's just like 4 or 5 candles perhaps. But this divergence might give us a little bit of a clue as to which way the price action might move. We have a weak doji reverse waterfall down here trading below this wedge pattern at about 009017. We also have a weak doji waterfall up here at the 0.018324 range, as well as up here above the equilibrium zone, another weak doji waterfall at 0.030071, which may act as price targets in the future. If we take a look at the Fibonacci levels currently, we do see a couple interesting things. First, we have this lower range marked down here, which is going off of this low here and going off of the current high set by this candle pattern. Now, a lot of people have different ways that they like to do this depending on how they trade and which time frame they're taking a look at. But in this particular case, I just decided to go off of these 2 points. So this lower range would basically take us back into the bottom area of the wedge pattern down towards this bullish BISI on the daily. This one here that we have in the center range is a retracement of this move here, which gives us an idea of where possibly price could come back to if we see a continuation. This one seems to suggest that we could see price come back down, perhaps retesting off of this upper trend line before moving higher. This higher target that we have here coincidentally lines up almost exactly with this bearish BISI on the daily that's centered right here at the 0.019262 range. So there is quite a bit of variance that we could see here depending on which way the price action decides to go. If it moves to the upside, we could see a nice 16-17% move up to this bearish BISI. If price moves to the downside, we could come back down to this retracement level, perhaps down to this upper trend line, down somewhere in this area, which is very close to the same percentage move. So as a trader at this point, your risk to the upside is about the same as your risk to the downside. But one thing that you don't want to do in trading and investing is chase price. So if I was looking to trade this, I would likely come down to this fair value gap forming right here just above these fib levels and likely ladder in a couple orders right in this area, setting my stop loss just below this candle right here. As you can see, there is a weak doji right here, which could mark a possible target for price to come down to, assuming that it drops down and retests off of this line. So when you're setting your stop loss, you want to make sure that you give yourself a little bit of room to breathe from that weak doji, because a lot of times price, even though it will come up to the exact point, sometimes it likes to blow through these a bit before reversing. But they do work incredibly well as price targets and reversals, as you can see right here. They don't work every time. They're certainly not perfect, just like anything else in trading. But when it comes down to looking for areas of price reversals or potential targets, weak dojis are my go-to thing. So overall, even though there's nothing super spectacular to look at on this chart, it does look like it has some potential for price appreciation. And I've always been a fan of XCN, even before it became super popular, and it also has a tendency to really get moving when it wants to. Now taking a look at SHX. Price has been trading in this wedge pattern for quite some time, going back to setting this high right here on January 26th. It's held pretty true to this pattern and also likes to trade very similar to what we saw in XCN, to where we'll have these big bursts moving up with long periods of consolidation before seeing the next move. We did it right here. We formed a pretty decent pattern right here over quite a long period of time. We did something similar right here, entering into the equilibrium zone, as well as here. Right now, price is currently trading above the equilibrium zone, which is a very bullish sign. You can see here that it took out this weak doji waterfall on the daily, blowing right through it. So here's an example of how it worked perfectly as a target to the upside, but price did not reverse in this area. So weak dojis can act as price targets, or they can act as points of reversal. So at this point, it looks like price may be getting ready to trade up to this upper trend line, but it's a really great sign that we're trading above the Gaussian channel, as well as trading above the equilibrium zone, and we're now trading above the 50% line on the stochastic, and momentum is starting to move to the upside. We've had a really nice move here over the last couple of days since this breakout has occurred in the crypto market, which in this particular case, over the last 2, 4, 6 days, SHX moved 39% to the upside to the peak right here. That's an incredible move. So this thing certainly can move when it wants to. So I just had to make a quick adjustment to my fib levels there really quick, because they had been there for a while and had not incorporated the move that we had just seen. But taking a look at the levels on the upside, which are going from this lower point here on this particular pattern up to this point right here, we can see that they're resting up here just above this bearish SIBI on the daily and just below this weak doji waterfall, which is sitting at 0.018909, which would seem to indicate a pretty good move breaking to the upside. If price does break out of this upper trend line coming up to these fib levels, it looks like there could be a lot of potential for price to come back down and retest off of this upper trend line, perhaps continuing to move higher. As far as the retracement levels go, it looks like we have a very good setup, because if price pulls back to retest, these fib levels right here measuring that particular move are within the equilibrium zone and above the equilibrium line right here, which is the green line in the center of the equilibrium zone, which seems to indicate that if it does come back down, that the equilibrium zone is going to support price to the upside, as we have these targets right in this area here. If price breaks back down through those, coming to the downside, which would be very challenging, as it would have to get through the equilibrium zone, through this small bullish order block here on the daily, as well as this bullish BISI. We do have a target right down here in this area with this weak doji reverse waterfall, which is at 207905. And these fib levels here, which align very closely with the -1 line on the Fibonaccis that correlate with my equilibrium zone. So overall, we have a lot of room here on the charts for price to really get moving depending on which direction it chooses. And right now, it's favoring a move to the upside as it's trading above the equilibrium zone. But this chart looks very nice. There is quite a bit of room here to get moving to break up and out of this pattern. And generally what you see with my charting techniques is in order to break this pattern, price needs to move up and out of here above this line here, moving up and basically negating the pattern, to which point it would come up, set a new pattern, and then this one would just be left behind. So these patterns tend to be in areas of price consolidation. As we move up, we play around within the pattern. We break out above or below, setting a new pattern. And we basically just continue to chase those patterns with this particular strategy, executing our trades within the trended areas, either above or below the equilibrium zone based on these Fibonaccis. But I really like what I'm seeing here, especially trading above this equilibrium zone, because we could see an explosive move that could take us up to these Fib levels, perhaps even to this weak doji waterfall right here on the daily. So that will definitely be something to watch. And SHX is one of those cryptos that my Patreon members are talking about quite often in the Master Tier Chat, which is a place that we're building together on my Patreon, that our community can come together, share ideas, share charts, ask each other questions. We basically use this area as a tool to learn from each other, apart from the toxicity that you can often see on social media. There's not been a single time since we have had this community together that we have had any negativity in there whatsoever. But what we do have is incredible camaraderie. And I would highly suggest signing up for the Patreon Master Tier, which you can get your first month for 25% off right now by using the coupon code 1776 and join us in this incredible community. And that's basically where I'm hanging out 7 days a week if you have any questions or anything for me personally. Because as the YouTube channel and the other social media channels continue to grow, it's getting harder and harder for me to be able to keep up with all of the comments. So you've probably noticed that I'm not able to answer every single comment like I've been doing in the past. I am starting to get to a point to where it's taking too much time, and I'm having to pull back just a little bit. But that's just the nature of the game. But overall, taking a look at these two charts, the XCN and the SHX chart, I really like what I'm seeing here, as well as what we're seeing in the crypto market as a whole, because we're starting to see a lot of incredible moves. Bitcoin just recently set a new all-time high. Ethereum up 17% on the week. XRP 25%. Even Dogecoin is moving very nicely, which it's also starting to form a cup and handle style pattern. If you care to go look at the charts, even though it's technically been invalidated because the handle went well below the 50% mark, but it's still a very interesting pattern to look at. Stellar is actually outperforming XRP, which I've talked about many times over the last couple of months, as I believe that was a possibility. Sui's been on the move at 17%, Chainlink adding nearly 15%. Avalanche is on the fly. Hedera is on the fly. Shiba Inu is up almost 16%. Polkadot up nearly 17%. Uniswap 20%. Pepe kicking it at 27% move to the upside. Bittenser's moving. Even Kronos is up 26%. Near Protocol 17%. Matic 28%. This move's been long overdue. But just taking a look at the market overall, you can see there's a lot of money moving around. Algorand pumped up nearly 27%. SEI at 25.5%. The market is on the fly right now, and it's absolutely awesome to see. But the Fear and Greed Index is getting up in that area. The altcoin index, which I think is fake, by the way, and I would be very cautious of this, is still down near the bottom quarter. And the reason why I don't trust it, by the way, is earlier in the season, when this altcoin index started to flash altcoin season starting, everybody and their dog piled in, and what happened? Prices completely collapsed. So in some ways, I believe it was a setup, and I also believe it was intentional. But that's just me being a conspiracy theorist, even though I kind of prefer the term truthist. There will be another viewer's choice video coming up very soon, so be sure to participate, as none of the ISO coins will apply, and all of the previous winners will be excluded. So this will give you a chance to get your coin into the viewer's choice video if it didn't make the cut previously. So thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate each and every single one of you.